What's up guys, I'm back for you with the second episode of Minecraft Hardcore. In this episode we will reach an insane amount of goals. For example, getting way more OP than we did in the last episode, fighting some mad bosses and build the first part of the ultimate villager trading hall, which leaves nothing to be desired. Don't forget to like and subscribe to never miss another episode, and now let's get right into today's video. So here we go again. I'm very excited for today, and the first thing I did in this episode was to add more important enchantments to my gear, like looting 3 for the sword, efficiency 4, unbreaking 3 for the hoe, and respiration 3 for my helmet. My plans for the future are absolutely crazy, and I will need my OP gear in order to farm all the resources I'll need for that. So with that in mind, I combined my gear with the new enchanted ones, and then it was already time for me to work on my first goal. And therefore I ask you, can you tell me one single thing that is more satisfying than a diamond mining compilation? I don't think so. So I went into the mines again, and I did around 8 hours of digging tunnels, mining ores and diamonds, because I really wanted to have a full diamond beacon in order to be able to farm all the necessary resources I will need for the trading hall. So yeah, enjoy! I mean, just look at the pure amount of diamond ore I found, and that's only one huge collection I made. I was really satisfied with the way it worked out, despite the 8 hours I lost on that, but in the end it was truly worth it. And because I absolutely love the look of diamond ore getting mined, I got another time-lapse of me breaking them with my Fortune 3 pickaxe. As you can see, there's another ore tower right next to me, but you'll have to wait for that one to be mined a little bit. And with all the diamonds I collected, I could finally build up the full diamond beacon. And for those who don't know, a full beacon needs exactly 2 stacks and 36 of iron, gold, emerald, diamond or netherite blocks, and I'm very happy to call a full diamond beacon my own. The only thing that's left for the beacon to work is the actual beacon, so I needed to get into the nether in order to kill some wither skeletons for their heads, and therefore I built a nice little mage tower which includes my portal. We got deep slate again as a foundation, and at the center I built up my portal frame in a little larger scale than normal. Then I added the walls consisting of spruce and oak wood logs because I wanted to get a kind of mystical look to it without interrupting my general style of building at this point. So I stripped some of the logs and added some ornaments to the wall, and I can tell you that this tower is going to get an upgrade in the future because I got a lot more ideas for it to be implemented. So here you can see the full building process, and as you can see I used more of the spruce logs to build myself up. And for the corners I'm gonna use some more deep slate bricks because I told you that I absolutely love this block. For the 4 sides I went for a very simple design consisting of spruce wood and some walls. I didn't want it to have any windows because inside there's going to be built a spiral staircase which leads you up on top of the tower where you can probably enjoy the epic view over the town in the future. The roof, who would have thought, is going to be a deep slate brick roof combined with more spruce wood stairs. Very predictable, I know, but for the second roof I actually went for deep slate bricks again with oak wood. Yeah, calm down, don't get too excited. On the very top of the tower I then put one of the new lightning rods to get some lightnings to strike on that tower in order to kinda power the portal, you know? So here you can see the result, and as I told you, I'm not quite happy about it, but I think it's enough for now. I also added a little textured area around the tower to make it look more natural and easier to connect with the pathways in the near future. Now I could finally travel through the portal directly into the depths of the Nether. I had a strange spawn, which was a little bit dangerous too, but fortunately I was able to find a fortress pretty fast. And I got excited for all the loot in there, and I actually found a decent amount of it. While exploring and looting, I also went into a bloodlust, or you know, like bones and stuff. I needed to kill those guys for their heads in order to spawn the Wither later on, which drops the Nether star for our beacon, and one of the skeletons actually dropped the first one of them right there. Now we had 2 more to go. I interrupted my Nether trip for a quick edition of my OP gear, because the blazes really turned me crazy. They were sniping me from all sides, and that's why I made myself a overpowered bow, so now I had the appropriate countermeasure. With all 3 heads collected, it was time for me to go back home and prepare for the first boss fight in our hardcore world. So I created the Wither in the underground to keep all my buildings safe, and I have to admit that the fight wasn't challenging at all. Due to the reason he was stuck in this tunnel, I had an easy game shooting at him at first and then hitting him with my powerful sword. In the end I struck him down and collected his star-shaped heart to finally craft my beacon. And that is also the last thing we had to do in order to activate the beacon. I went back up, took the materials necessary to craft one, and there we go. Our first full diamond beacon is finally here. The first thing I did with this unleashed power was to break the ore tower as I promised. Most of the ores were deep slate ores, so it still took some time, but it was fine for me. I was happy about reaching the first main goal for today. Now I wanted to work on the second goal, but at first I built up a provisional sugarcane farm by placing some observers above pistons, because I wanted to have paper for some firework, and I guess you know what I need those for. Then I visited my village again, and this time I didn't only took the torches, but also 2 of the local residents for my trading hall later. These 2 are the starting point of a population of emerald traders, but that's not their only purpose. But more about that later. I had a discussion with some endermen, and then I combined their eyes with some of the blaze powder to get the eyes of Ender, and I guess now you can tell for sure what I'm up to do. My bloodlust didn't stop at the Wither, and that's why I now also wanted to find and kill the Ender Dragon. Mostly because I needed the shulker shells for shulker boxes in order to be able to farm materials more efficient later. So I made my way to the stronghold, and I had the baddest luck at all. One of the 12 eyes of Ender I had was destroyed on the way, and the portal had 0 eyes in it. So I had to travel back home just to get 1 more eye of Ender to activate the portal. So here I was, and I could finally activate the end portal to the dragon. It was a pretty painful process. But not as painful as it would get for the dragon. I destroyed all of his life-spending crystals, and then I started to attack him directly. I heard his screams of pain, and I made him responsible for all my pain of the last 30 minutes. He fought a good fight, but after all, my bloodlust brought me another victory. The bloodlust was finally calmed. I took the dragon's egg as a reward for the fight, and then I made my way into the end in order to search for some end cities to kill shulkers and find an elytra. It didn't took very long to find one, and I was very happy to find that much shulkers that I could kill. After some time of exploring and slaughtering, I could finally manage to get across a floating ship. I sniped the passengers, and then I started to make my way over to the ship by throwing a very risky ender pearl at the stern of the ship. I stole the dragon's head as a further trophy, and then I found what I came for. In the cargo hold of this floating ship, my first elytra was waiting for me. This means I can now fly wherever I want to go, and that makes farming resources a lot easier. But most of all, the shulker boxes make my life easier, because I can transport an enormous amount of materials at once, and now I don't have to go out every half hour to get new stuff. Farming is exactly what I plan to do, and I'm pretty excited to see how many resources I'll end up needing to build my dream trading hall. So I looked up a portal in the end that leads me back to my cozy overworld in order to start the materia gathering. And after the farming work was done, I started to expand the area I wanted to build in a little bit, and also making sure that the whole thing looks natural, so that there are no strange corners or edges that could disturb the image of the surroundings. As you can see, I did a decent amount of terraforming, and now the area was perfectly prepared for my lovely villager trading hall. I had an exact plan on my mind how I wanted this to look, so I placed my ender chests and all my shulker boxes and began the building process. I think this took me about 12 hours in total to complete, and I can promise you guys that we are not done with the trading hall. There will be an update episode coming in the future where I will upgrade and connect all the buildings that I'm not quite satisfied with right now. In case of the trading hall, I was not unhappy about it, but I had so many ideas I wanted to add that I needed to stop at some point in order to continue later on. Oh no, I need to strip all of that. Oh, it's done. Whoopsie. I enjoyed the time building, and I hope you do too with watching the time lapses of me building. It was a lot of fun, and as you can see, I also managed to build the interior in a pretty simple way. There is not much space for a lot of decoration, but definitely enough chambers for villagers. I wanted to have a basic amount of every important profession in this hall so that I could trade for everything they got to offer. I hope you don't mind seeing time lapses, but it was the best way for me to get everything packed up in one video that doesn't run like 10 hours or something. You can write down in the comments down below if you want to see more or less time lapses in the future. At this point it was time for me to add a little bit like a lore of this place. So I decided to create 2 watchtowers with guards that protect the valuable treasures of the trading hall. I think it turned out pretty nicely, so I mirrored it on the other side. As you can see, I also completed the interior, and you can also write down your opinion on my style of building in the comments, because I personally think it's a little bit too dark with all the deep slate and dark oak, but I think it depends on personal taste. Next on my list was a little planning session, because as I said before, I have ideas for this place, and those ideas require a little planning ahead. One of these ideas was to build a kind of forge or workshop where research is done with the traded emeralds. I tried to connect the building to the hall as much as possible to make it clear that this is also still a part of it, but I also added a separate entrance for traders. The idea behind this building is, as I said, that not entirely harmless experiments are carried out here, which could have possible consequences for the world. In addition, the emeralds also have a dark origin. But I also have to admit that I am very happy with the interior this time. I'm kinda proud of me, I guess. My second idea was a bit simpler, because on the right side I set up a small horse stable where the arriving merchants and guests can give their horses some rest. I think I will probably upgrade the stable again in the future, but I'm actually pretty happy with it. And what of course must not be missing in a stable are horses. So I grabbed 4 saddles and 4 armors and went in search of 4 inhabitants for the stable. I found all 4 pretty quickly, tamed them and then assigned them to their respective armors depending on their stats and brought them home. I have found 2 brown, 1 black and 1 white horse, and now it's up to you to name these 4. Write down your suggestions in the comments, and the names that I like best will get a heart from me anyway and will be named in the next episode. Thank you all guys for your support. As I said before, I want to connect all the buildings later, so I had to create some kind of pathway ahead of the stable and also to show that this spot is very well attended. To finish the build for now, I then did a little decorating by putting up hay bales, building water jugs and turning redstone ore into a sort of apple crate. With that done, I could continue on the actual trading hall. But before we do that, I'm gonna need some blackstone from the Nether in order to continue my work. And on this occasion, I also collected some ancient debris. I found 41 ancient debris in total, and this is perfectly enough for all my gear to be upgraded. Except for my sword, because I still wanted to add some enchantments to it later on, but the rest of it got their well-deserved upgrade. Listen to that epic sound, I truly love this game, and because I could even upgrade my hoe to netherite, you can hear it a second time. Real satisfaction. Now I'm ready to continue working. To explain the next building project, it is necessary to go a little deeper into the details. I have told you that I want to create a kind of story for each place. We've already covered the lore of the workshop, and now I want to tell you the reason for these huge tanks. These tanks hold the collected essence of the villagers, which is released when they trade with you. In common language, this essence is often referred to as experience points. This essence is piped up to the tanks for further research into the power of emeralds. Any damage or consequences to the world from this unnatural research are yet to be seen, but I can assure you that there will definitely be some. For example, unnatural sources of danger spreading throughout the world and sending their sinister minions to wreak havoc on the inhabitants of this world. So much for that, but let's move on to another function of my trading hall, because as you can see, I've built a sort of pipe system here that collects all the experience points as you trade and feeds them into a sort of filter system that pumps them to the tanks. I built 2 of these, one on each side, and I think I did quite well on that. Next up, I just wanted to decorate a little bit by building a sort of backyard where goods are delivered, and then this happened. Bruh. I was peacefully working on my decorations when this guy snuck up behind me and left me with 1 heart. I had the fright of my life and also had to put on my chestplate right away for safety. I completed my work by building a few smaller tanks, a large barrel with mysterious contents, and a few other small things that seemed useful. I also built a few blocks from the few emeralds I traded and found a single ore that I placed there as well. At the end I dedicated myself to something less important, namely the fountain, which is actually in the middle of the marketplace. The marketplace will also be in one of the next episodes, but I wouldn't have made it this time. In case you haven't realized it yet, I again really liked working with Deep Slate, but as I said, I might upgrade the whole thing again in the future. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. We've really accomplished a lot, and I hope next time we can take it up a notch. Thank you for all your support, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, please leave a like and a comment, and I would be very happy if you would subscribe to this channel. Once again, it was a lot of fun, and I thank you for liking and commenting so much last time. The next episode will still take some time, so I ask you to be patient and share the video in the meantime so we can grow together. Don't forget the horse names, and I'll see you next time.